Welcome to a special Civil War edition of Duck TV Sports here at Reser Stadium.
I'm Mary Popish with Chris Brooklier, and this was the 116th matchup between these two teams for the Civil War. Pick it up in the first quarter. Storm Woods for Oregon State puts the Beavers up 7-6 on the Ducks. Then later on in the second quarter, Kenyon Barner has a touchdown of his own after a fantastic run. Oregon up 20-7 on the Beavers. Then later on in the second quarter, Kenyon goes down with what appears to be a rib injury. He would leave the game.
This was a big blow for the Ducks. Going into halftime, big change of momentum.
Ducks start the second half with a 20-10 lead, but then it's Stormwoods again with the touchdown. Closes the gap. Ducks up 20-17.
Stormwoods was really the only bright spot for Oregon State. 71 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns.
Then later on in the third quarter, it's DeAnthony Thomas again, his second touchdown of the night. Ducks lead 27-17. Then on the very next possession, Ducks recover a fumble from Oregon State and turn that into more points for DeAnthony. 34-17 Ducks. DeAnthony had 130 yards, which was a season high on the night, and 3 total touchdowns.
And turnovers were a big thing in this game, Mary. 6 turnovers for the Ducks, including 4 interceptions and 2 fumbles.
Fourth quarter, it's Kenyon Barner with a touchdown. Ducks up 41-17. And Chris, it was really great to see him come back after leaving with that injury.
Yeah, Mary. Kenyon finished with 198 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, so it was great to see him come back.
Ducks go on to win 48-24. After the game, Chip Kelly and Marcus Mariota had this to say about the Civil War win.
This has a huge meaning for us. Washington game has a huge meaning for us. We're undefeated against every team in the conference except for Stanford and USC, so all of those we take with a lot of pride. But, you could tell for some reason the fans don't seem like they like us very much when we come up here, and that's okay.
You kind of really don't realize it until you step on the field, and you hear the crowd, and it was just one of those things. It's a crazy atmosphere. It was fun to play in, and I'm looking forward to several more.
Mary, the biggest key for me had to be Kenyon Barner. Came back from that injury in the second quarter, really put some life in the Ducks. 198 rushing yards, like I mentioned earlier, and his 2 rushing touchdowns now tie him with the Michael James for the single-season rushing touchdown record with 21 touchdowns.
Kenyon was huge for the Ducks tonight. Another big key to this game were all of the turnovers that Oregon faced. They had 6 on the night, puts them at 38 overall for the season. That's a new Oregon record.
Yeah, and it's easy to win on the road when you can force turnovers like that. The Ducks now have a 15-game winning streak on the road. That's the longest streak in the nation. So, Mary, the Ducks didn't win last week against Stanford. What was the difference this week?
I think one of the biggest differences between this week and last was Marcus Mariota. He really kept his composure, led Oregon to 430 rushing yards, had 236 all-purpose yards of his own. I was really impressed with him tonight.
And then the key for me was shutting down that run game for Oregon State. Last week, Stanford's running back Stephon Taylor had over 100 yards rushing. Oregon was really depleted on the defensive line, but they came back, had a lot better depth this week. And once you can stop the run, you make the offense one-dimensional, and that's big.
And in other big Pac-12 matchups today, Stanford beat UCLA, making the Cardinal the winners of the Pac-12 North, which ends the Ducks' hopes at a Pac-12 championship.
That means the Ducks will most likely play in an at-large BCS Bowl. For Mary Popish, I'm Chris Brooklier. Thanks for a great season of Duck TV Sports.